The Black Twins lead quiet, unassuming lives, but when a violent racist gang targets them, they are compelled to reveal their hidden past. As elite military commandos, they possess unmatched combat skills. What begins as a dangerous pursuit quickly escalates into a high-stakes confrontation, as the twins turn the tables on their would-be attackers in an unexpected, explosive showdown. Before we dive deeper into the intense battle that's about to unfold, I want to know, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. From the outside, the Black Twins appear to lead a simple, uneventful life. In a quiet suburban neighborhood where the lawns are neatly manicured and the sound of children playing echoes through the streets, the Black Twins seem like nothing more than two ordinary brothers. They wake up early, don their modest work clothes, and head to their respective jobs, blending effortlessly into the rhythm of everyday life. They greet their neighbors with a warm smile, share pleasantries at the local coffee shop, and never attract attention. To anyone who passes by, they are just another unremarkable pair, content with the mundanities of a peaceful existence. On the surface, there's nothing extraordinary about them. They live a life of routine, going to work, paying bills, enjoying occasional quiet evenings at home. The twins have perfected the art of blending in, avoiding any unnecessary attention. Their personalities are unassuming, their actions predictable. It's a life built on discretion, simplicity, and anonymity. Yet beneath the facade of normalcy lies something far more complex. What no one knows is that these men are survivors of some of the world's most harrowing military operations. The twins' pasts are filled with a history of bloodshed, sacrifice, and survival that most people could never even begin to imagine. Before they became the men living in suburbia, they were two of the most highly trained operatives in the world. Their years of service in the most elite military forces were marked by covert operations in hostile territories, operations so dangerous that even the bravest soldiers would hesitate to undertake them. They've been through battles where the line between life and death blurred in an instant, where every decision could mean the difference between survival and oblivion. They've been to places where the rules of engagement don't exist, where the stakes are nothing less than life itself. They fought in wars few have heard of, executed missions so classified that even their closest allies never knew the full extent of what they had done. The twin brothers survived when many others did not. Each mission was a test of their physical limits, mental acuity, and unyielding will to stay alive. Their ability to adapt and thrive in extreme conditions became their greatest asset, earning them a reputation in the military that few could rival. And yet, all of this is buried beneath the surface of the quiet, mundane lives they lead now. But their calm existence is not just a result of a desire for peace, it's a calculated move to stay hidden in plain sight. The twins' choice to live in obscurity isn't accidental. It's the culmination of years spent evading enemies who would never hesitate to hunt them down. Their quiet life is a carefully constructed mask, a way to stay off the radar of those who would seek to use, exploit, or harm them. After all, men like the twins, men with the skills and knowledge they possess, don't get to retire quietly. They don't get to fade into the background without attracting attention from those with a vested interest in their pasts. So, they've chosen this life of subtlety, this existence of deliberate obscurity, as a way to keep their deadly secrets hidden and to protect the very lives they've fought so hard to preserve. And on this particular morning, that peace, so meticulously crafted, is about to shatter. As the twins move through their daily routines, unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon, the first ripple of danger begins to stir. It's a feeling they know all too well, a sudden, inexplicable shift in the air, like the calm before a storm. They don't know exactly what's coming, but something is off. The quiet neighborhood that has been their sanctuary for so long feels different today, like a subtle shift in the world's atmosphere that only those with their particular set of skills can sense. The phone rings with a number they don't recognize. A fleeting glance across the street shows an unfamiliar vehicle parked far too long in the same spot. Small signs, things they've learned to notice over the years, nothing too obvious, nothing overtly threatening, but enough to make their instincts stir. Their training kicks in almost automatically. They've been here before. They've survived worse. But as they glance at each other, the twins know this is no ordinary day. The peace they've worked so hard to maintain is about to come to an end. And the storm that's been gathering on the horizon is now ready to descend upon them with a fury they can't yet comprehend. Unbeknownst to the twins, a ruthless and violent gang has been stalking the city, preying on anyone they consider vulnerable. In the shadows of the city, where fear lingers in alleyways and whispers travel faster than the wind, a ruthless gang has been making its mark. Known for their violent tendencies and fueled by an unrelenting racial hatred, they have terrorized the city for weeks, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. These men and women are not ordinary criminals. They are driven by a deep-seated need to instill fear, to show dominance over those they deem inferior. Their crimes are not merely acts of robbery or assault, they are calculated displays of power, designed to break the spirits of those unfortunate enough to cross their path. Their victims are always the same, vulnerable, isolated, those who can't or won't fight back. The gang knows how to spot weakness from a distance, how to identify individuals who appear defenseless, their lives too quiet, too routine, to draw attention. And so, they strike, hunting down the weak, the isolated, and the overlooked, forcing them to bow to their cruelty, their hatred, their wrath. The gang doesn't just want money or power, they want control, and they are willing to destroy anyone who stands in their way. The twins, innocuous in appearance, quickly become their next target. On the surface, the twins seem to fit the profile of the perfect victims, two brothers living quietly, keeping to themselves. Their unremarkable lives, the mundane simplicity of their routines, make them seem like ideal prey. They don't stand out in the crowd, don't attract attention, and seem like the kind of individuals the gang could easily overpower. The brothers' physical appearance doesn't suggest danger, and their calm, unassuming nature hides any hint of the lethal potential they truly possess. To the gang, they're nothing more than another pair of targets in a long line of easy victims. What the gang doesn't realize, however, is that this is far from a random selection. The twins have been under surveillance for days, observed from the dark corners of the city, watched with the precision of a hunter tracking its prey. The gang members have carefully studied their every move, their routines, their interactions with others. They've learned the brothers' patterns, how they walk, where they go, what time they return home. They've gathered intel, compiling a mental map of the twins' lives. Every detail, every action is being watched, measured, and considered as part of a larger plan to destroy them. Yet, despite all their observation, the gang has missed one crucial detail: the twins are not who they appear to be. What they see on the outside, the simple lives, the quiet demeanor, is nothing but a carefully crafted illusion. The gang is unaware of the brothers' past, of the deadly skills they have honed through years of covert military training. They believe they've chosen their victims carefully, but in reality, they are walking directly into a trap of their own making. As the gang closes in on their prey, a strange unease fills the air. As the days pass, the twins begin to feel it, an odd, inexplicable sensation that something is wrong. It's subtle at first, like a shift in the atmosphere, an almost imperceptible change in the air around them. They notice the unfamiliar faces lurking in the distance, the vehicles that seem to park just a little too long, the small details that don't fit the usual pattern of their peaceful life. The feeling of being watched, of being hunted, is growing stronger with each passing hour. They don't know who's behind it, or what the true nature of the threat is, but their instincts, refined and sharpened by years of combat experience, are on high alert. They've been trained to sense danger before it even materializes, to read the subtle signs that others miss. And now, they're sensing something they haven't encountered in years: the quiet, creeping tension of an imminent threat. The quiet tension is palpable. They've unknowingly stepped into a game that's far more dangerous than they realize. The twins are accustomed to facing enemies who show themselves openly, who make their presence known. They're used to the sudden chaos of combat, the adrenaline-fueled rush of being thrust into a dangerous situation. But this is different. This is a predator playing a long game, one that has been setting traps and waiting for the right moment to strike. They've been under the radar, slipping through the cracks unnoticed, until now. The tension is building, but the twins don't know how close they are to the edge of a much larger conspiracy. They are slowly stepping into a trap, a game where the rules have already been set, but they don't yet know the stakes. Their instincts are telling them to act, to be ready, but they don't yet know how high the stakes really are. And just as they begin to sense the danger, They realize that this is no ordinary attack, it's a test, one they may not be able to survive unless they confront it head-on. What the gang doesn't know is that the twins are far from defenseless. Beneath their unassuming appearances lies a deadly combination of military expertise, combat training, and psychological acuity. The gang members may have underestimated the twins, but they have no idea what they are up against. Beneath the brothers' quiet demeanor and innocent appearances lies a lifetime of training and experience that could bring even the most formidable opponent to their knees. The twins are not only highly skilled in physical combat, they are masters of psychological warfare, able to read people's emotions, anticipate moves, and turn the tide of a confrontation with mere presence. Their ability to stay calm under pressure, to make split-second decisions that others would agonize over, is what has kept them alive in the face of impossible odds. They've been trained in a wide range of combat techniques, hand-to-hand fighting, firearms, stealth operations, and strategy, and have honed these skills in some of the most hostile environments in the world. Each of them is a weapon in his own right, with a mind as sharp as the edge of a blade. What seems like a quiet, unassuming life is merely a thin veil over their deadly capabilities. While the gang may see them as easy targets, they are far from the helpless victims the gang believes them to be. As the gang begins their assault, the twins spring into action with deadly precision, their military instincts taking over in an instant. The moment the gang moves in, the twins spring into action. It's as though the world around them slows down, and everything becomes clear. Their instincts kick in, honed over years of life-or-death situations. Every motion they make is deliberate, every strike calculated for maximum efficiency. It's not just muscle memory, it's a fully ingrained, automatic reaction to danger. Within seconds, they've assessed the situation, mapped out their escape routes, and identified the most immediate threats. The calm, methodical precision they employ is like that of seasoned soldiers in the midst of an ambush. The twins don't panic, they don't waste energy or time. They flow through the chaos like ghosts, using the environment to their advantage. Every step, every movement is intentional. What might appear as sheer brutality to the untrained eye is in reality the perfect blend of discipline and skill. With a series of swift, fluid movements, they incapacitate the first wave of attackers, disarming them with practiced ease, leaving the gang members stunned and confused. In the blink of an eye, they transform from ordinary men into silent, lethal predators. What was once a quiet suburban street is now a battleground, but the twins move through it like shadows, silent, invisible, and lethal. They don't fight with anger or rage, they fight with precision and efficiency, their bodies flowing through the motions as if each step has been choreographed. Where the gang is loud, erratic, and filled with rage, the twins are controlled, deliberate, and relentless. The brothers are not just reacting to their attackers, they are anticipating them. They know where each gang member is going to strike before they do, using the element of surprise and the high ground to their advantage. With a few well-placed blows, they disarm and neutralize attackers, incapacitating them without a sound. It's a dance of death, where every move serves a purpose. The gang is left wondering how two seemingly defenseless men could have become such an insurmountable force in an instant. They fight with the calm, methodical efficiency of seasoned soldiers, but they soon discover that the gang is not as unprepared as they originally believed. However, the twins' confidence is not without its challenges. As the fight progresses, they begin to realize that the gang is not as unprepared as they initially thought. The gang may be a pack of racially motivated thugs, but they are no strangers to violence. They have their own trained enforcers, mercenaries, killers who have been brought in specifically for situations like this. These men are not just street-level criminals, they are highly skilled fighters, trained in various forms of combat and strategy. Some of them are ex-soldiers, others mercenaries with a taste for blood and a history of ruthless efficiency. The twins' early success starts to diminish as the gang's elite forces reveal themselves, their tactics becoming increasingly sophisticated. What was once a one-sided battle quickly shifts in tone as these killers begin to match the twins' precision with their own. They fight back with the same level of discipline, using the same guerrilla tactics the twins are so familiar with. The battle becomes a brutal, high-stakes game of cat and mouse, where neither side can afford to make mistakes. What follows is a brutal, no-holds-barred clash, where the twins find themselves battling not only to survive but to gain control of the situation. The twins, caught off guard by the gang's elite forces, realize that this is no longer just about surviving, it's about controlling the situation. They are no longer simply defending themselves from attackers, they are now engaged in a full-scale battle for dominance. The gang's mercenaries fight with the same intensity and ferocity as the twins, and the streets are soon littered with broken glass, discarded weapons, and the sounds of combat. Every punch, every kick, every move they make is part of an elaborate strategy to regain the upper hand. For the twins, the battle is a test of everything they've ever learned. They must rely on every skill, every tactic, every ounce of their training to stay one step ahead of the mercenaries. The fight is savage, with neither side giving quarter. Blood is spilled, bones are broken, and the air is thick with the scent of sweat and adrenaline. The twins find themselves pushed to their limits, their bodies battered and bruised, but their will to win never wavers. Every moment is a test of their skills, and the true scope of the twins' capabilities is slowly revealed, one calculated strike at a time. With each passing moment, the twins reveal more of their capabilities. They don't just fight, they strategize, adapt, and overcome. What started as a chaotic brawl becomes a showcase of their full range of expertise. They use the environment to their advantage, setting traps, creating diversions, and using every available resource to turn the tide of the fight. Every strike, every movement, is a step closer to regaining control. And as the battle continues, the gang begins to realize that they are up against far more than they bargained for. What had seemed like a sure victory for the gang is now unraveling before their eyes. The twins are no longer mere victims, they are predators, and the hunt has just begun. As the hours pass, the gang is gradually dismantled by the twins' superior strategy and combat skills. What began as a chaotic, violent confrontation has slowly turned into a calculated massacre for the gang. The twins, their military minds in overdrive, have begun to dismantle the gang piece by piece. With every passing hour, they adapt to the gang's tactics, exploiting weaknesses and outmaneuvering their opponents. The brothers are not just fighting to survive, they are systematically breaking down the gang's offensive, turning their environment into a battleground of traps and ambushes. The gang, initially filled with confidence and reckless aggression, is now scrambling, their plans rapidly disintegrating under the weight of the twins' precision and tactical prowess. What the gang once thought would be a simple, quick victory has turned into a nightmare. They are being picked off, one by one, their numbers thinning with each confrontation. Their once unified front has splintered, and confusion reigns among their ranks. They've been forced to retreat into the shadows, scrambling to regroup and reassess, but the twins are relentless. Every time the gang tries to make a stand, the brothers are there, silent, efficient, devastating. With each calculated strike, the twins prove why they are not just survivors, but masters of warfare. The once confident gang members are now scattered, broken, their plans unraveling in the face of the brothers' relentless assault. The chaos in the streets is palpable. The gang members, who only hours ago believed they held the upper hand, are now scattered and broken, their spirits crushed under the weight of their defeat. They had come with the belief that they would conquer the twins, that their numbers and brute force would be enough to crush these two seemingly ordinary men. But now, as the gang retreats into disarray, their plans lie in ruins. Vehicles are abandoned, their engines still running, lights flickering in the aftermath of destruction. Weapons lie forgotten, discarded in the chaos. The gang's strategy, once so carefully crafted, has been undone by the twins' superior intellect and skill. The brothers have not only survived, they've completely turned the tide, leaving their attackers in disarray. Every corner of the street bears the mark of the battle, the remains of broken bodies, the twisted metal of destroyed vehicles, and the litter of what was meant to be a victory for the gang. The ground is stained with the evidence of the fight, but amidst the wreckage, the twins stand victorious. Their bodies are battered, their clothes torn, but their determination remains unwavering. They've won, but the cost of this victory hangs heavily in the air. But just as the twins are about to catch their breath, a chilling revelation surfaces. The twins have fought with every ounce of their training, each victory pushing them further into the unknown. The gang is on the ropes, their plans crumbling, and it seems as though the battle is nearing its end. But in the midst of the silence that follows the chaos, a new and unsettling truth begins to emerge. As the last of the gang members fall, one of them stands apart, lingering in the shadows, waiting. It's a face the twins recognize, a face they had overlooked in the heat of the battle. This man, a gang member they assumed was just another pawn in the game, is far from ordinary. His presence is different, calculated, cold, and eerily familiar. The twins' hearts skip a beat as they realize the terrible truth. This man has been tracking them for far longer than they could have ever imagined. One of the gang members is not just a run-of-the-mill thug. This man has been tracking the twins for far longer than anyone could have anticipated. The chilling realization hits them with the force of a gut punch. This man knows them. Not just as the twins, not just as the quiet men living in the suburbs, but as the elite soldiers they once were. He knows their every secret, every hidden aspect of their past. His eyes betray no emotion, but the twins can feel the weight of his gaze. He's seen them before, watched them from the shadows, and studied them in ways they can't comprehend. He knows their weaknesses, their fears, and most disturbingly, their strengths. It's a moment of pure dread, as the twins realize that this isn't just a gang, they've been part of something much larger, something far more sinister. The man is not here by accident, he's been part of a far-reaching plot that's been set into motion long before the twins even realized it. This battle, this war, has been planned with precision, and the gang is nothing more than a tool, a pawn in a much larger game. He knows their true identities, every hidden aspect of their past, and his involvement in the gang runs deeper than a simple vendetta. The twins are forced to confront a terrifying truth. The battle they've just fought was never about racial hatred or mindless violence. The gang was just the tip of the iceberg. This man, the one who's been shadowing them, has far more personal stakes in this conflict than the twins could have imagined. He's no random gangster, he is someone from their past. Someone who knows them, not just as men, but as soldiers. His vendetta against them isn't driven by the same simplistic hatred of the gang members. It's something far more personal, far more calculated. The twins begin to piece together the unsettling details. The scars of their past, the shadowy figures they thought they had left behind, have been haunting them all along. This man's presence here is no coincidence. He is a reminder of their darkest hours, a ghost from their past that refuses to stay buried. His involvement in the gang runs deeper than simple revenge. It's a carefully orchestrated plot designed to bring the twins to this very moment. The twins are confronted with the unsettling truth that this was never just about racial hate. It's a carefully orchestrated plot, with layers that stretch far beyond what they originally thought. As they process this revelation, the weight of the situation becomes clear. The fight was never just about the gang or the petty violence they've been inflicting. The real battle, the true test, has only just begun. The twins now understand that the threat they are facing is not just a random act of terror, it's part of a larger conspiracy, one that has been waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The strings that have guided their lives, that have pulled them into this battle, are tied to forces they never expected. This is not just about survival anymore. This is a fight for their very existence, for the truth of who they are, and for the lives they thought they had left behind. As the man steps forward, his presence heavy with purpose, the twins know that this final confrontation will test everything they've ever known, not only their physical strength but their very understanding of the forces that have shaped their lives. The true scale of the war they are caught in has only just begun, and the final showdown looms closer than ever. In the final, heart-stopping twist, the twins uncover the true identity of the gang's leader, a former military officer who once trained alongside them. This man was once their equal, a soldier who shared their battles and their victories. However, over time, jealousy and resentment festered within him. Feeling overshadowed by the twins' superior skills, he began to harbor deep resentment. His envy grew into a personal vendetta, one that drove him to betray everything he once stood for. Now, as the leader of the gang, he has orchestrated this entire operation with the sole purpose of exacting revenge on the brothers who, in his eyes, stole the recognition and glory he thought he deserved. This man knows the twins better than anyone, every move they'll make, every weakness they've concealed. In this final confrontation, the twins are not only fighting for their survival, they are battling their own ghosts. What was once a fight for justice becomes a deeply personal struggle for redemption, as they face off against a former ally turned deadly enemy.